Composing for orchestra requires some preparation, and the workflow is a bit different from other styles. Let's listen to the tutorial score first. As a first step, you will load the rack with your orchestral sounds. If you have prepared rack module presets for your orchestral sound libraries, starting a new arrangement is very convenient. Orchestral music doesn't follow a verse scheme like a song. You will operate out in the open, without any guidance by a ready-made template. First off, your arrangement should start after bar 1 to make sure there's a bit of headroom in the beginning for pre-roll. Place a first container at the beginning. Concerning harmony, it's a good idea to start with a single rich chord only, or a subtle modal progression without much functional movement. This will not distract you while you are sketching a texture from melodic lines and rhythms. Put the tonic of your desired key in the root container. This will serve as a default in places where a container is not yet placed. A library of basic phrases and elements is great for getting started quickly with something you can customize and improve. The embedded library is for phrases that are unique to the arrangement. It's your sketchpad. Pick a first sound from your rack. If you are used to sketching rhythms and melodies with a DAW, you can draw variations of phrases that you will combine with others later on. Remember that you can move, transpose, and transform these elements in many ways. Also, the phrases can be played by any instrument. Articulations can be set for each segment or symbol. This requires a device description to define them. Check out the tutorial on setting up large sound libraries. A library can also be filled with phrases imported from MIDI files. Please check out the tutorial on import how that is done. Once you have a pattern that works, duplicate it and create a variation. Repeat this until you have enough phrases to start. These are your Lego bricks that you will play with. Chord stabs and other short elements can be easily used in different places. Factories can generate thousands of phrases randomly that you can sift through and collect. This is explained in another tutorial. Where expressive rhythm is involved, recording is more intuitive than drawing. If you have a theme or specific rhythm in mind, you can record it in advance and place it later. If you want to use a library more than once, save it as a file. With only a few phrases already, you can create the foundation for many compositions. Over time, you'll build a considerable collection of libraries that will suit your taste and style. Now, this is the library file we will use for this tutorial. Back on the structure page where we just added our first container, the library can be opened on the sidebar. It doesn't really get much more complicated than that. If you want to start something in the middle of a container, always add a child container. We still want to hold back bass voices a bit. Simple phrases don't sound that simple anymore when they are rendered with harmony. This container introduces the flute. The flute is extremely quiet. The modulation should use a higher default value. Controllers are defined for the device, sound, or instrument. A default value can be sent for editing, recording, and playback. Andre, lend me your hands.
Yeah.
If a recorded figure doesn't sound as expected, check its grouping and anchors. Interpretation also has a big impact. If you just recorded the first take, you should select one that works best for you. Select an articulation. The string section shouldn't appear out of nowhere, so let's make it a question and answer thing. Andre will play a simple line that will serve as a question.
Yeah.
That's a bit of an oversimplified question.
Nah.
But this is a tutorial and not a course on composition. Figure recognition can be revised and the last take converted into a figure again until it works for you. Fine. Let's listen what we have so far. Now for the next part, B. We'll copy the harmony from the first part, just so we have something for now. It's supposed to get a little denser, so our library comes in handy. To preview all phrases with tempo and harmony of the current container, enable this switch. The flute will continue in this part with a variation of the motif. Simply copy it. You can change the behavior of a figure by switching its type, grouping, and transposition. The second part introduces a harmony change. Nothing dramatic, just a moderate, unexpected shift. Let's listen what we have so far. Now for the last part, C. Things are getting more and more dramatic now. It's a good thing that we have a whole range of phrases at the ready from which to choose. Drop a phrase in the background area to create a new instrument. To match two instruments against each other, you can blend in another one in the background. And quickly jump to that instrument. Articulations and phrases from a library often don't match the sound you are using it for. Jump back and forth between the two instruments with a double click here. On the left side, you can select the current instrument without having to return to the track sheet. Let's listen what we have so far. The cellos are annoyingly repetitive and stiff. I'm going to lighten that up a little bit. A snapshot turns loops into physical data that can be edited. Harmony in the last part will move a lot. We jump right into G major. Then do a 5/1 cadence to BB minor. And again a 5/on cadence to conclude in A flat major. We will emphasize the key changes even more with slow legato strings. The cellos are interfering again. They should stop playing before the key change. And the clarinets are too shrill and repetitive. I will clean this up and add some variation. Yeah, that should do it. Percussion will drive the rhythm and enrich the sound spectrum. Towards the climax, we have basses that complete the spectrum on the bottom and give the whole thing punch and mass. The strings could use some modulation for expression and volume. Sometimes you hear a melody that's not really there. That's an opportunity to add an instrument that makes it become real. These horns will be great, but they are too low? You can assign any of the 3 playing ranges to a segment. Yes, you could even have bass segments in the upper range. Now for the real drama. Let the brass players come. Since these are mostly short stabs, hits, and chords, they can be assembled easily from short phrases in your library. That's so much fun. Let the show begin. Yeah. On the overview page, you can see at a glance what is being rendered for each instrument. Change the order of instruments here and assign them to groups if there are too many to fit on a screen. On the structure page, you can hide or show individual groups to edit them in context. Finally, you can clean up each container to focus on existing phrases only, and zoom the view to fit contents. Now that our score is finished, let's listen to the result again. Thank you for watching.